Hi guys, today I'm going to be looking at the Itiwit 2 or 3 places orange inflatable kayak from Decathlon. Previously this has been known as the Itiwit 3, but more recently it's known as the Itiwit 100. Now this is Decathlon's best-selling inflatable boat, and I've got a feeling we're going to be finding out why that might be. I see loads of these out on the river. In fact, even this week I've been out on the river making another film in another boat, and I saw quite a few of these. So I knew that I was preparing for this review, asking a few owners, how's it going with the boat? What do you think? And honestly, no one had a bad word to say. People seemed really happy with it. I was poking, prodding, trying to find faults and grumbles, but smiles all around. So I think without further ado, let's look at some specs. Let's take her for a spin and get straight into it. So the boat retails at just under £300. I mean, these days, euros, it's roughly equivalent now, isn't it? The general standard of materials and construction, I find, is of high quality, especially for the price. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You might be looking at this and looking at some others, and you'll notice that some of the other brands, supply a whole kit where you get the boat, you get the pump and the paddle as well. Well, actually, Decathlon do that. If you look at the webpage for the boat, I'll leave a link in the description, by the way, for the boat and all the accessories used in this video. But if you look on the webpage, right down at the bottom, there's a bundle. So that's the recommended pump, the recommended paddle. It's just one click, add to basket. There you go, there's your kit. Now, one thing to say about these kits that you see on the market is a lot of these companies, they like them because it's a good selling point. People thinking it's convenient, they just get everything they need in one go instead of buying things separately. Now, to keep costs down, particularly shipping costs, compromises are made in these kits. So usually the boats are fine, but the paddles you get are like very lightweight, small diameter, 4-part aluminium paddles with small blades. All of this is going to affect performance on the water, your enjoyment. Usually people take these boats out once, the paddles just aren't up to scratch. They end up in a garage for months, if not years on end, eventually just end up on landfill. So whereas the paddle that's recommended for this boat, it's a decent product in itself. It's sold separately in the stores, people buy them, for other kayaks as well as this one. So there isn't any incentive to make compromises on the design of these paddles. It's all decent kit. Typically you could use the double-bladed paddle, but I know sometimes, especially people who are using these boats in couples, like to get the single-bladed paddles, and you can have one each and operate it like Canadian canoe style. That's another option. I'll leave links to those paddles as well, so you can have a look and make up your mind. Personally, I'm a double-bladed kayak man. That's just my personal preference. I just want to say something about the numbering system that Itiwit have. So this is part of the 100 range, which means either beginner level or for occasional use. So this might be your first boat. You might be literally dipping your toes into the world of boating, and I've got to say, if this is your first boat, then well done. You could do much worse starting your boating journey. But also, advanced users might want something for occasional use. Something just to take on camping holidays near the lakes, something to take down to the beach on a nice sunny day when we get them here in the UK, and just something to just poodle about with a mate or with your family, your kids or your dog, just on a nice lovely day like this on the river, just catching some rays. I've also seen these boats in the past used as utility boats, like tenders for narrow boats, river cruisers, Dutch barges, even yachts. I've also seen them used by fishermen just to get access to certain reaches of the river, they can't normally get to. I don't fish, so please don't ask any fishing questions in the comments. But yeah, it seems these boats are very popular with all sorts of people in the boating world. Now, setting up the boat is super easy. I really haven't got much to report on that front. It all just rolls out in one piece. You've got 3 valves for pumping up. You start with the floor, then the 2 sides. They're low pressure, just 1.5 psi, using the recommended 5.2 litre pump. It's honestly up together in minutes. Very, very convenient. Packing it down as well, super easy. I didn't even look at the instructions or the manual or anything like that. Just deflate, roll up in the bag. Can fit the pump in the bag as well, even though it's sold separately, there's room in the bag for it. Very, very nicely convenient. The max payload for this boat, so that's the amount of weight that you can take in the boat, including people and luggage and all of that stuff. So it's 230 kilograms, it's about 507 pounds. It's ideally, say 2 adults and a child, or a large dog, or an adult, 2 children. Speaking of dogs, basically dogs love boating, by the way. And I noticed that Itiwit recently changed this from the 2 persons to the 2 places boat, and I wonder if that is reflecting the fact that customers do like to take their dogs out as well. But you can call your dog your person as well, and I'm not judging. Right, so that's payload. Even fully loaded, this boat is incredibly stable. It's a traditional double pontoon style inflatable boat. You've got the inflatable floor as well, and it's almost untippable. I've been out in the wind and the waves, and it's bobbing about all over the place, going through past the wakes of boats speeding past on the river, no problem at all. Even with the 2 boys in. Seating can be configured in either 1, 2 or 3 places. It's very conveniently marked on the floor of the boat to show you exactly where to place the seats in those different configurations, just so the balance of the weight of the boat is correct. Now, the seats themselves are also inflatable to 1.5 psi, the same as the other chambers in the boat. So everything is simple, straightforward, easy to remember. They're very comfortable, and they also feature these sturdy backrests, which are fully adjustable, comfortable for adult and child alike. I've been out on my own as a 1-seater. Fantastic, handles really well, lovely boat to paddle. I've been out with the boys in it as well in 2- and 3-seater configurations. There's plenty of room, it's well balanced, very stable. Getting in and out, no problem. The floor is much more solid than I was expecting because I'm more familiar with the drop stitch floors, but this was actually, great. To aid with tracking, when keeping the boat straight when you're paddling along, basically, and handling and performance, the boat features Itiwit's familiar 3-fin or skeg system, the reliable locking mechanism that is, I always find that very reassuring. These are well made, good, strong materials, very easy to put together, and the boat tracks very well. It also aids with wind resistance as well. There's covered storage both at the bow and the stern, and there's also these deck lines here, quite handy for storing your pump or other bits and pieces. And this it's quite roomy, this boat. You can take some other bits and pieces. I'd recommend you always use dry bags when out on the water. I'll leave some links for those as well in the video description. Decathlon do some good dry bags, so you can get everything from the same place. There are 4 grab handles in total. These feel really sturdy, good quality. So if you're portaging the boat, you can have one at each end, or if you're just doing it yourself, you can grab these here, up on over your head style. Lots of options, really. One thing Decathlon are really conscious about is the end of life of their products, and I've got to say this is a particular issue where they stand head and shoulders above the competition. So say you've had something like this for a few years, you've outgrown it, you want to get something bigger or you want to upgrade, then talk to Decathlon, because they have their second life program, which will take pre-owned products, refurbish them and literally give them a second life to be loved and enjoyed by someone new. Or they're just really on the case with recycling their used products responsibly. But anyway, so many of the Itiwit and Decathlon products are already made from recycled materials. They really are taking a lead on this issue, and I think it's good to see. It really is impressive, the quality that you get for this budget price. I'm going to go as far as to say that I think that this is the best budget inflatable boat that you will find on the market. I have looked at the competition. I've got some reviews on the way. They all got their own pros and cons, and there's some things I like about the other boats compared to this, but I think if you've got 300 quid to spend on a boat, you're not going to go wrong with this. And yes, I've got a good relationship with Decathlon. They lend me this stuff to have a look at. I'm not paid for these reviews. I'm not under any obligation to say anything at all. These are completely my own opinions, but I just think this is fantastic value for money. If you are considering buying this boat and your budget can stretch just a little bit further, then I'd highly recommend taking a look at my review of the Itiwit X100. I'll leave like a video card here at the end of the video so you can click on that and go and check that out. It's a very similar boat. It's a bit longer, similar capacity, 2 or 3 person, but it features a drop stitch floor. It's a more recent technology. It's much stiffer, so it's kind of like an upgrade in terms of stability. And there's some other features on there as well, some extra features that I think you might want to take a look at. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you found this video useful, then give it a like. That really helps me out. These likes are like currency to us YouTubers, so I really appreciate it. Thanks. But it also helps other people who might find this useful find the video in the first place. Thanks to Decathlon for lending me the boat for this review. I've really enjoyed taking it for a spin this weekend. The boys have loved it as well, and I mean, if it gets their seal of approval, then you don't even need much more from me, to be honest. Check out some of my other videos as well. Consider subscribing. Don't be shy. I don't just do reviews, I do like kayak camping trips, all sorts of kayaking adventures and boaty stuff, river stuff. There's lots going on, so yeah, it's nice to have you here, and I hope to see you again in the next one. Cheers!